Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Okay, today we're going to talk about something which, throughout my years of being alive, my 18 years of being alive, I feel like everyone has this universal experience where someone says, "What do you want to do in the future?" And I tell them, like, I don't know, because I think it's unrealistic for people to set their expectations on getting something completely, like, solely one job. So, do you know what I mean? Because this world is so unpredictable, right? The job market is so limited that it's just unrealistic for someone, especially like a child, that you get these asked these questions at like 16 years old or something like, "What do you want to do in your future?" You have no idea, okay? And so now, whenever someone asks me like, "Well, what do you want to do after A levels, or what do you want to do in your future?" I just say like get a job, like be able to get a job which is decent pay, and I'm actually happy with it, because I feel like nowadays the job market is so saturated, it's so difficult to get a job, especially with the ever growing technology and use of AI and corporatization of the AI and stuff like that. Um, it's like it's just minimalizing people's chances of getting a job. And so this is kind of where it links to me. So I don't actually know what I want to do after A levels. I'm really kind of in a dilemma. Like, I don't really want to go to uni because I've had all three of my siblings go to uni, and I mean, they all ended up with like good degrees, but they're five figures in debt, and it took one of my sisters like a year and a half just to get a job, and this job isn't exactly crazy or anything, you know. Um, and so I think the kind of the concept where people think that if you don't go to uni, you just won't get a job, is kind of like a manipulative sort of. You got manipulated into going to uni. And I'm not saying uni is a bad thing at all. Like I fully respect people go there like 100%. But like I genuinely don't know what I want to do in my future. I kind of just want, especially how this sort of world is going now, how the job market is going. I just want a job. Like, I'm being dead real. Like, I just want a decent job, which I don't want to do something I don't like. But obviously, beggars can't be choosers. So it's this whole sort of dilemma where I don't know, it's an issue, and it kind of brings me on to my second point where bro, Indeed. Okay, I'm convinced Indeed is a like sort of scam. I'm convinced Indeed is just a data farm. I'm convinced that Indeed just posts fake job listings, and then you have to input all this sort of, because how on Indeed you could have like specific questions which employers set, like what is your ethnicity and stuff like that. Um, I reckon Indeed puts fake job listings on their app for you to then apply, but rather than actually just any job being available, they're just collecting your data, which you're willingly giving to them. And I know it just kind of sounds ridiculous, but that is my little theory. That Indeed is doesn't really. I mean, where does it make its money, anyways? Let's be real. How does Indeed make money? They don't sell anything. They don't advertise. I know. I mean, I know jobs advertise, but it's not like they take cuts or anything. Or at least not that I know of. I think it is just selling data. Um, but it's kind of weird because literally every company does that now. Meta, Google, literally every company sells your data to other companies, and the idea of people like kind of still being privatized, like off the grid, or I use a VPN, or I'll never sign up to this because they're taking my data. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, your data's already been taken. It's already been sold. It's too far gone. You kind of just have to embrace it. And I know it sounds ridiculous because we shouldn't be embracing something so stupid, such as selling private information to other people, especially when it comes from huge corporations like Meta. I mean, it's just ridiculous, but it's just how it is. And it's just how the cookie crumbles. It just is how the world is. This kind of leads me on to my third point where I'm kind of not like I'm not struggling, but I am actually kind of worried about my future. So after A levels, I opted not to go to uni. I decided I didn't really want to go to uni because of my other siblings. like yes, they enjoyed uni itself, like, and I'm sure uni would be fun. I actually quite like the idea of school. I think it's kind of interesting. Also, I think uni kind of has the interdependence of students, which I think does sort of help um, create transferable skills. But I just don't know what to do. I'm taking a gap year, which I know for sure. But this is mainly just to sort out. Like actually don't know what I want to do. Like it's really just a gap year to give me more time to think about what I want to do. And so I've got three options to do within this gap year. I either get an apprenticeship or degree apprenticeship. That's one. I get a job or a part-time job. That's another. Or if neither of those two work, I'll take a 1 year course at a college, essentially, just to keep me going, just to keep me doing something in this gap year, and also eventually I'll get a qualification, ideally. So that's just how my future's kind of looking. I'm a little bit worried about it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it or anything. Like I'm actually kind of worried about the future. Uh, for me and actually all for other people. And I think it's going to be even worse in a decade's time or maybe 2 decades time for our kids, our generation, our younger generation or whatever. Because then by then, stuff like technology and AI would be fully integrated into um especially corporations, global corporations. And I'm talking like, Burger King, McDonald's, I mean like stuff like that. I mean, have you seen that new Burger King thing? Which like you have this headset on and an AI literally speaks to you, like saying you didn't say thank you enough. That is ridiculous. But that is a waste of money, anyways. I'm pretty sure Burger King probably just invested a fuckload of money into AI, didn't go anywhere, and so they had to do something from it. And so they make this shitty Burger King Siri kind of thing, which doesn't do anything except to tell you haven't said thank you and yes or please enough. That just sounds ridiculous. It kind of reminds me of Clippy a little bit, if anyone remembers that. And yeah, so the job market is cooked. I don't know about anywhere around the world, but at least in the UK, I believe the job market is cooked. I don't know the employment rate, but I'm sure it was probably higher than it was sort of pre-COVID. And that's not to say that people don't want to work, because I feel like loads of people want to work. I just feel like at least in my opinion, I want to work. Okay, um, the market is just so kind of difficult to enter. Yeah, I mean, the market is just getting smaller and smaller with the increased, technology and AI being integrated into the most everyday things as well, like things which a human could do. It's just kind of sad to see how this is where the world's kind of going. And I get it. Like we live, at least in the UK, in a capitalist society where businesses attempt to make the most profit. And I'm not saying we should be anti-capitalist, whatever. I don't really care about that. I mean, as long as it's not a socialist society, I don't really care. But that was a joke. Uh, yeah, because we live in a capitalist society, companies just want to maximize as many profits as they can. It kind of reminds me of the time when BP they had this whole sort of like, well, we're going to be renewable by 2040 or whatever. But then like their shareholders, their stakeholders were like, we want money. Drop this green BS, drop all this being green friendly, sustainability. We want to make as much money as possible. And that's just kind of how it kind of goes. That was just a little link. Uh, yeah, that's about it. See you later.